This is former Indiana basketball player Brian Evans, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back. Indiana Sports Beat, of course, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this July 6th, Monday, post-July 4th holiday. Joined now by JoJo Gentry from Fox 59 in Indianapolis. JoJo, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Jim. I'm good. How are you?
Great. What a great weekend. I assume you're out at the track all weekend.
Actually, Jim, I didn't step foot on the track.
Oh, well, yeah, a lot of people didn't. I didn't know if you were lucky enough to get to go up there, but yeah, a lot of people didn't, but it was certainly a great weekend for that up there.
Yeah, it was actually amazing too, just to watch from the studio. I was actually anchoring our shows from in-house while we had 2 reporters and 2 photographers out there. We just wanted to limit the number of people as much as possible, and so did the Speedway. But I mean, honestly, Jim, it was just so cool to cover live sports in Indianapolis for one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then to top it off on I guess it was Saturday, Chase Briscoe. First of all, what a magical season. I don't know how anybody can have a magical season in 2020, but he is the only person in the world that I think is, and he certainly is with his 5th Xfinity Series win. Not only that, he wins at Indianapolis. The kid's from Mitchell, Indiana. I mean, what a storybook. And then Justin Haley's second. What a storybook finish for these guys, these kids.
Yeah, and, it's funny. I actually had to look up where Mitchell, Indiana was. I had no idea. I learned it's actually close to you near Bloomington.
Yeah, just south of Bedford.
Yeah. So, 4,500 people, it says online, that live in that town. And obviously Winnemac, where Justin Haley is from, is also another small town here in the Hoosier State. So it was just cool to see 2 Hoosiers lead the way in the Xfinity Series. And I know the Xfinity Series doesn't always get the hype that, IndyCar, NASCAR do. But it was just cool to see 2 Hoosiers lead the way. And I'm talking about those final 10 laps. I know the guys out on the track were on the edges of their seats, and so were we in the studio for sure.
Yeah, what a fun weekend. And again, what the Indiana touch, unbelievable. You couldn't even really plan it that way, but they did get the races in. It was spectacular, too, because not only you have Cup race this weekend, you had an Xfinity race and an IndyCar race on that same day as the Xfinity. What a great weekend for watching, at least. I know getting people out to things is the biggest deal, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. A lot going on. I know there was a lot of basketball has been going on up in Indianapolis the last couple of weekends. So things are trying to get to normal. People are trying to get out there, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, it's a really weird situation at this point. I mean, we've tried to bring it up in the office, like, what's it going to be like? What's this going to be like? Are we going to be able to do this? And it's, Jim, there are just so many I don't knows. I mean, I don't know if you saw the NFL, like, there's some information about media access coming up. We received word that there are going to be no in-person interviews until further notice for coaches and players. But everybody's going to have access to, the virtual interviews, of course. But that just changes the game because I've brought this up to a couple of people just even outside media who ask, like, what's the biggest difference when you're speaking with somebody in person compared to online? And it's like when you, and Jim, as you know, when you speak with somebody in person, it's like you can read their mannerisms, their body language. And that, to me, that's a part of the story. Like, how are they standing? What's their vibe? And, you don't get that with virtual interviews. So it's like you have to be more prepared than ever. I think now for an interview, especially when you have to conduct it via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, to actually get the full story of, what's going on. And two, I think players and coaches, it's a little bit, some are open to talking about how they've been, what they've been doing during this time. And some of them have just kept private. So, which I don't blame them. That's fine. But it's just interesting to see who's more vocal and who's more quiet,
Absolutely. It's definitely been a challenge during this time, creating content and talking to as many people as possible. But you're absolutely right. The Zoom thing is nice, better than nothing, but you do not get the personal connection because of exactly what you said. And because whenever I talk to people, I don't have, unless there's certain things I definitely want to ask, I don't have a list. I go off of I just have a conversation and I let it go from there. And it's a lot easier to do that in person or one-on-one live than certainly in a group setting like that.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays, it's like I can't get a tee time at a public course in Indiana. It's like we golfed in Bloomington a couple weeks ago. But I don't know what your experiences have been like trying to get tee times on the golf course, but I guess that's what everybody is doing nowadays.
Yeah, that's about the only thing you can do. And that's, think about that because summertime, especially in a town like Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a city that is just blows up during the summer with sports, whether it's at Westfield or wherever we're talking about. There are always just tons of tournament, baseball, soccer going on in Indianapolis. The hotels, the fields. I mean, I know how much it is the amateur capital of the world. It's got to be. There's just so much always going on. And to not have that, I mean, man. But not only that, the kids are not getting that. Then we talk about the kids are not getting to play AAU ball. They're not getting seen by the college coaches like they normally would. There is just a gigantic ripple effect that this thing continues to cause.
Yeah. It's been interesting, Jim, to see who's decided to turn pro, who's decided to stay another year, whether it's an extra year of eligibility in college or high school. I mean, we saw Christian Lander out of Evansville, who, for people who don't know, I covered local sports in Evansville at WEVB from 2015 to 2019, and Christian Lander was one of the most outstanding high school basketball players I covered when I was down there. And for those who don't know or don't follow IU basketball as much, he decided to forego his senior year of high school at Rice to play basketball at IU. And I think he wanted to be a Hoosier no matter what, but it was just one of those decisions that, the coronavirus came to mind. Is it, I had to ask, those who knew him, was it a decision based on he was just ready to go, or did the pandemic have any influence? And ultimately, just based on people I talked to, I think he was just ready and he felt like he could contribute. And I believe he's in Bloomington now, but it's just been so interesting to see, the choices and the paths that athletes have taken at this time.
Yeah, Christian arrived in Bloomington on yesterday. He's officially signed a member of that class now after reclassifying, like you said. He gives up a lot. He gives up the opportunity to chase the Mr. Basketball title in Indiana next year. He won't be a member of the All-Star team, which he would have been definitely an All-Star member and a leading candidate for Mr. Basketball. So he gives that up because, he wants to go play. He wants to play with Trace Jackson Davis and those guys that he's so familiar with on his AAU team. And he knew that Trace Jackson, this is probably going to be his last year. Not definite, but we'd love to see him play a third season. But it's very possible that this would be the only year Christian gets to play with Trace Jackson Davis. So, and plus we know he can contribute. Archie Miller has said as much. I think he could start on this team possibly next year. There's no doubt about that. But what a great athlete, Christian Lander out of Evansville.
Yeah, and you've got Anthony Leal and Trey Galloway in that class too. I mean, this incoming class is stacked.
Absolutely, and it's stacked with a bunch of Indiana kids in addition to Jordan Geronimo coming from the Northeast. But I sent out a text yesterday that got a lot of love that that Archie Miller now has. He's got all four of his guys on campus, but he's also got a group that was already a tight-knit group in that recruiting class because of playing together and just really communicating with each other. But they also had previous relationships with current team members, which he hasn't had that with his team before. It was kind of disjointed and almost the opposite, kind of fractured a little bit. I think he's getting more and more of a cohesive unit, and I think that's going to make a gigantic difference this season.
Oh, yeah. And, I've interviewed all three of the Indiana natives that are going to IU over the course of before the coronavirus. I got to speak with Anthony and Trey in person in the wintertime. And, obviously one of the questions I have is, how well do you know the other guys coming in? And their reactions each time were they were all smiles. They're like, oh, we know each other really well. We play AAU together. And then obviously, we call and text and stay in touch. And, I know those guys hang out in their off time. So, chemistry is going to be a huge advantage for that class. And, especially with Christian coming in a year early, I'm sure he can build off of what he, has already done, and especially just the maturity of the other guys he's going to be around.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to the dynamic. I mean, this team has not had a backup point guard per se, not a designated one. I mean, Al Durham has played that role, but that's not his normal position. Rob Finney has needed some help for a few years. He's getting that now. And with Rob Finney being a third-year player, he's going to have a lot that he can teach Christian Lander. Christian Lander has got some great talent. He's very quick with the ball, and he's going to add a dynamic to this team that they haven't had for a couple of Archie has not had since he's been here. So he's going to have a few things that he hasn't had since he's been here. And I think that, as I said, I think this is going to be his best team yet. It definitely should be. They're not going to have a choice. They do, but they're going to have to be up. I think this is a top 4 team in the Big Ten this year. We'll certainly hopefully find out.
See.
Well, JoJo, but what's coming up next for you this week? I'm sure that after the big long weekend of working, you get a day off, at least one day maybe. But what's coming up next for you?
That's actually in the works at this time. We were in the studio last night until about midnight, just combing through our coverage and looking at what we have and had. And today I don't know if you saw a tweet, but there was a report that came out that, Colts quarterback Phillip Rivers raised a big question on the NFL Players Association call on Friday that, he asked if a player does test positive for the virus during Super Bowl week but is asymptomatic, do they have no choice but to sit out? And they said yes. So not sure if that's going to be my story for today, but, as the Players Association and the league release more information or reporters find out information as to what fans can expect for this upcoming season. That's at least something that I might be delving into today.
Well, that kind of goes along with what we saw at NASCAR at the Brickyard this weekend. Jimmy Johnson, the biggest name in NASCAR, not there because he was COVID positive. And don't know how he's going to miss not only that race, but it affects his playoff potential. He dropped a few spots yesterday. He's only 2 above the cutoff line to make the chase. And then so he was supposed to do an Indy test. I know he has interest in running Indy cars. He was supposed to do a test for Chip Ganassi Racing, I think, next weekend. He's not going to be able to make that either.
It's just like when that news came out, funny story, Jim, I believe that report came around like 15 minutes until the 7 o'clock hour. And I was actually in the studio while our Dave Griffiths was out at the track, covering sports for Fox 59. And at the very end of his sportscast, he just kind of let out the blurb of like, oh, by the way, Jimmy Johnson has tested positive for the coronavirus at 12 here this weekend. And that's the first I had heard of it. And I was like, are you serious? Because I was just watching the show. And my first reaction was, he doesn't get to say goodbye. This was supposed to be Jimmy's farewell in Indianapolis in the Cup Series. And it's like, he just didn't get that opportunity. It's like, not to say I wish anybody would get the virus by any means, but it's like, of all people, it has to happen to Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. I think that we will probably see him in Indianapolis, though. It will just not be in a NASCAR. I think you might see him in a Chip Ganassi Indy car next season. We'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah.
Well, JoJo, I cannot thank you enough for joining us. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you give her a follow on Twitter if you don't already. Follow her on Fox 59 in Indianapolis, JoJo. I thank you so much. I hope you have a great week.
All right, Jim. Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
This is Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary. Indiana Sports Beat is now a part of the Rivals Network. You can go to thehoosier.com to sign up. It's free. Catch the show there each day live or at your convenience. You can also like or follow us on Facebook, follow the show's rebroadcast anywhere you podcast. If we're not on a radio station where you live, we should be. Let your local station know they need to carry Indiana Sports Beat with Coyle and Leary, or simply go to thehoosier.com.